Hi folks, it's Mr. Henriques and today we're going to talk about the possessive S. Let's get to it. Now we can talk about possession in several ways. You could say something like my car or your bike, or use a construction like he is a friend of mine. And if you want to know more about these constructions, have a look at my possessive adjectives and pronouns video. Now in general, we can use apostrophe S to talk about possession, which means that you talk about who or what owns something. And we add this apostrophe S to the noun. Consider the following sentences. That is Mary's hat. This is James's house. The teacher's hair is grey. Now the nouns in these sentences get apostrophe S because it indicates the possession. And as you can see, it's very simple. We simply add it to the noun. But there are some rules that we need to take into consideration. Rule number 1. Singular nouns get apostrophe S and plural nouns get apostrophe. Consider the word cat and cats. Right, so cat is singular and cats is plural. How do we know that cats is plural? Because it adds the extra S. Now because cat is singular, and if we want to talk about possession, we only add apostrophe S. So the sentence would become something like, the cat's collar is too tight. Now if you want to talk about more than one cat, we add apostrophe, because the word cats already has the extra S. Here's another example. The teacher's office is on the second floor. Now in this case, teacher is singular, and we talk about one particular teacher who has an office. If we want to talk about an office that's used by a lot of teachers, we would get something like, the teacher's office is on the second floor. So in the first sentence we add apostrophe S because the noun teacher is singular, and in the second sentence we add apostrophe because the noun teachers is plural. So what do we do with words that end with S, like James? Well, that's up to you. If you want, you can add apostrophe S, but you could also add apostrophe. It's important that you're consistent. So if you decide to use apostrophe S for James, you always need to add apostrophe S when you're talking about James and possession. Now what do we do with words that are plural but don't have an extra S, like children? Because children doesn't have the extra S to indicate the fact that it's plural, we add apostrophe S when we want to talk about possession of more than one child. So this means that the sentence becomes something like, the children's book we're reading in class is 20 pages long. The children's book. And you see children is plural, there's more than one child, but because we don't have the extra S that indicates plurality, we add apostrophe S to indicate possession. Now here's a quick overview of what we discussed. Singular nouns get apostrophe S and plural nouns get apostrophe. If your singular noun ends with an S, you can either add apostrophe or apostrophe S. If you have a plural noun that doesn't end with an S, you add apostrophe S, like for children's. Rule number 2. We usually don't use apostrophe S when we talk about things that aren't countries, people, animals, and those kinds of things, right? So take for example this sentence. The name of the villa was written above the door. Now the name of the villa is a way to indicate possession, right? It's the villa that has a name. But because villa is inanimate, we don't really use apostrophe S. And the construction, the name of the villa is preferred over the construction, the villa's name. The same goes for a sentence like, make sure you put your bike at the back of the house. Because house is inanimate, we don't use apostrophe S. So you don't say something like, make sure you put your bike at the house's back. But you say, back of the house. And the final example, that famous footballer scored the first goal of the match. Goal of the match. Again, both are inanimate and we don't use apostrophe S, but we use this of construction. Now there's one exception to this rule. Let's say that you want to talk about something very specific. Let's take the word changing room. And if you want to talk about a specific type of changing room, you could say something like the men's changing room. So why do we use apostrophe S? Because we want to indicate that this changing room is specifically and particularly for men. Finally, we also use of when talking about specific geographical locations. So you would write something like, the capital of Spain is Madrid, capital of Spain. And the same would go for a sentence like, Seattle is in the state of Washington, state of Washington. And because these are very specific geographical locations, we use of. So that's basically it. Let me know in the comments. Do you have something that's yours and that you'll never give up? If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section as well. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for the others, and stay tuned for my next video, because that one is going to be very interesting.